I think we can all agree when I say that improving at the 3x3 Rubik's Cube is difficult. I mean, it takes years of dedication and practice just to get sub 10. And it can be especially frustrating to practice when you have no clue what you should be focusing on. Should you be working on your cross, your F2L, your OLL, your PLL? Well, in this video, I'm going to try to help you guys out a little bit with this really underused tool that I found. But to understand where I found this tool, we should go back to the beginning. So one day, I was going through the speed solving forums when I found this post. What I then did was I looked through the replies and I found this one with this link. So I decided to try it out, see what the thing was all about, and that's when I came across this, which I believe is pretty much underused. I haven't really heard of it that much. You guys might have, but I'm going to assume that it's new to most of you, because it was to me, so I'm just going to use my own experience for that. But basically, this resource is really helpful, and before we get into what the resource is, we have to understand the steps on how to use it first. Now, how this resource works is you need some time splits. Now, this resource will only work for CFOP solvers, so if you use another method like RU or ZZ, then I'm afraid you'll have to find another resource, because this one only works really well for CFOP. In order for it to work, you have to find basically the splits for each of your steps. So cross takes blank seconds, F2L takes blank, etc., etc. And how you would find that is what I'm about to show you. Now, really quick before we continue with the video, there's a few things I want to say. One really big important step to improving at cubing is the cube. Now, it's not the most important thing, however, it can help if you're using a pretty bad cube like a RUBIK'S brand. Now, where should you buy your cubes? Well, thecubicle.com. If you go to thecubicle.com, you can purchase cubes at great prices with great shipping, and then you can use code CRATER at checkout for 5% off your order, and it will save you some money. So go to thecubicle.com and use code CRATER. Now, like I was saying, what you need to do is you need a split timer. Now, there are multiple versions of it. You could use like a speedrunning timer or something, just as long as you can like record splits. Now, just to give you an example, I'll give you one that most of you are probably familiar with, CS Timer. Now, it doesn't have to be the plus version, but if you want the plus version, click the video up here, and you'll see how to get it. But basically, all you have to do is head over here to Options. Then what you want to do is come down here to Timer, scroll down a little bit, and look for Multi-Phase. Now, when you first come across it, it will be on 1. But all you have to do is just press this plus button until this number right here says 4. And then once it says 4, you're all good. Press OK. And I'm not sure what it'll look like because I've already done some solves in this session with the plus. But it'll basically, how it works is you basically press spacebar to start your time like normal. So you give 50 seconds of inspection. And then you start the timer. But this time, instead of doing what you would normally do, where you solve the cube and stop the timer, each time you finish a step, you press the space bar. So the timer's running. Let's say I just finished my cross. Press the space bar. Boom, it appears here. Timer's still going. So now you're solving your F2L, right? And then once your F2L finishes, click the space bar. There's your F2L time. And keep going, OLL, and then PLL. And you have your 4 splits. They'll appear right here. But basically, after you have your splits, I'm going to get rid of this time because it messes up my averages. But after you have your splits, what you have to do is you're going to have to pull up the following resource. Okay, now, one thing I forgot to mention is that what you have to do is you have to do an average using the splits feature. Now, I recommend like an average of 12. Don't do average of 5 because that's too small a sample size, but don't do like averages of 100 because you might get tired out and that might impact your solve. So try to stay somewhere between, I'd say like 12, average of 12 and 50. For the sake of time, I did an average of 12. So all you have to do is, after that, make sure you do your average, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now, it is a Google Sheet, so you'll have to have Google Sheets for it, but all you have to do is just go to the link in the description. It's not like an actual app you need, it's just a website that you can use. So all you have to do is just go to the link in the description, and I believe this source is made by Felix Semdegs with his cubeskills program, so shout out to him. I'll leave his cubeskills website down in the description. It's a great resource for anything like how to improve specific parts of your solve. So after you figure out what to do here, then you can use that. Basically how this works is it's like one big document for like everybody. So what you have to do first is you have to come over here to File and then press Make a Copy. And then name it whatever you want and press OK. So now, as you can see, it's made a copy that I myself can just edit and it'll all be good. So we can go up here and erase that other tab. So now that you have your copy, you'll be able to edit it on your own. Okay, so as I was saying, you'll have to open CS Timer, and then with CS Timer, after you do your averages, you'll see your 4 split times here. First one will be cross, second will be F2L, OLL, and PLL. So as you can see here, before we use CS Timer, let's read what it says. So it says, enter your split times in the cells highlighted yellow. So that's these 4 right here. You can use CS Timer, so there you go. And then, so just how you find this data, right, is you want to go over here to CS Timer and click on one of your 4 average split times. So we'll start off with cross. And then what you want to do is look for your average. So in this case I had an average of 12, so I'll look right here. And it says current 2.54. So we can come over here and add that in to the sheet. So 2.54 and boom. After you add that, then move on to your next one. So for F2L, average of 12, 7.98 is my current one. Here. And then you want to add that. So 7.98. And then after that, we do OLL. And for OLL, we have an average of 204. So we add that in. 2.04. And finally, what we do is a PLL time. So we go back here, PLL, average of 12, we have a 2.61, and we input that in. And all that does is, you might have noticed, each time we entered a number, this average right here, it went down a bit. Because that shows the average. Basically, when you add up all 4 of these times, you get this, which is your average in this case. And it should be close to what you average. It might be a bit slower because you have to tap the space bar each time, but it should be pretty close. And then down here, it has estimated average splits. So it'll show estimated typical splits for a CFOP solver. It says this section shows estimated typical splits for a CFOP solver at your speed. So it shows that a typical solver at my speed should have 2-second cross, 7.6 seconds F2L, 2.3 second OLL, and 3.2 second PLL. But that, you don't really have to look at that if you don't want to. That's just more specifics if you're like right next to the line, but you'll learn more of that later. Now basically what we should be looking down for is down here at percentage variation. What it says is this section shows the difference between your splits and typical splits at your speed. If the box around the number is red, it's bad. If the box around the number is green, it's good. And the lower the number, the better. So with that in mind, let's see. So for cross, I have a 25% in the like dark red, which is bad. Basically that means that I'm 25% slower at cross than the average person at my speed. So that could be a place to improve. With F2L, I'm 5% slower, which if it's above 0, then it's not that good. Then you want to get it lower. So I also have to improve at that, but not by as much because only 5% slower. And then for my OLL and PLL, I'm actually better than the average person by 12% and 19% respectively. So those are places where I can take a break from and I don't have to practice those as hard because I've already at a place where I want to be with those. So then all you have to do is come down here. How to use this information. Because suggested splits are just approximations, any variation less than 20% is not very significant. If you find there's a stage in your solve which is more than 20% higher than the suggested splits, this may be a clear area for improvement. Specific tips for you. Now over here, depending on what you see up here, it will tell you how to improve. Now, it says your cross is 25% higher than the suggested splits. This stage is something to focus on in your practice. Now, if you see something here that says it, that generally means that that's where you want to focus. Now, sometimes, like here, for example, I'll add a cross time in. Let's go with just we'll go with 1.95. Okay, not 21. 1.95. And when we input that in, our average went down. But now, our cross is still worse, but not as bad anymore. So, because of our average. So instead, as you can see down here, it now says specific tips, none. Now you might be thinking, well, what do I do now? Because now I don't have anything to improve on down here. Well, you could still look at here. You want to use a combination of specific tips for you and percentage variation. And with a combination of those things, you can find out what to improve on. You want to focus on this, and specific tips for you, but if there isn't anything down there, then just look up here. So in this case, I have 1% cross, 9% F2L, and my OLL and PLR are still great. Now, the 1% cross is something that it's worse than average, but it's better on average than F2L is compared to the average, because cross is only 1% worse, whereas F2L is 9% worse. So the bigger the number, the more you want to focus on that. And yeah, guys, that's the sorry for that. And yeah, guys, that's the CFOP Solve Splits Feedback Tool by Felix Zemdegs and cubeskills. And it's a resource that I don't think a lot of people know, but I think a lot of people should know about. And if it helps you, comment down below your splits and what you need to work on. You just saw what I have to work on, because those are my actual times from an average I did. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it helped. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Use code CREATOR for 5% off at thecubicle.com. And I will see you all next time. Bye.